Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and I'm going to break down the Week 5 loss to the Chicago Bears and give grades to the offense and defense, as well as go over those 4 keys to the game that I put out during my game preview. So let's get right to it.
The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
And this mantra goes well with our first key to the game, and that was containing Justin Fields. Now, overall, I gave that a B+. I'm going to tell you why. Justin Fields only ended up with 111 total passing yards and a touchdown. Of course, he's not big on the passing game. That's not a big deal to me. The big deal to me was he only had 3 carries for 4 yards. We harassed him so much. He went off the field a couple of times with a couple of various injuries, and Jonathan Abram was just all over him. He made a superb play on an inside run of his, just stopped him cold. I don't know why Justin Fields didn't slide there. He took a big hit, hurt his back. Another play, he kind of was trying to run away from Yannick Ngakoue and stepped kind of funny. It looked like he was okay. It looked like he had a knee problem, but it looked like he was okay. The defense ended up with 2 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Well done in controlling and containing him. Now, my next key to the game was to minimize the damage of Allen Robinson. Now, by getting onto Fields, that slowed the passing game, and that did subsequently slow down Allen Robinson. Now, I did give this a B. I know he only got 4 catches for 32 yards, but there was a pivotal 3rd and 7 that he did catch and make a good job, a better than average job. But overall, with the defense, I gave it a C+, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, I know we only gave up 20 points to the Bears. You could say technically 17 because the Raiders were going for it late and turned it over on downs in their own territory, and then the defense stopped them in 3 plays and they kicked a field goal. However, 2 big reasons for me. One was the 3rd down conversions. It was 6 of 13. It seemed like we were getting close to stopping them, and then they would get a 1st down, or we'd get a roughing penalty or some other penalty to extend their drives, and that just can't happen. And number 2, more importantly, they ran the ball all over us. They had 143 total rushing yards. Now, I think the linebackers did pretty well in the game, but the front 4 were getting pushed around all game, especially in the run game. I know Yannick Ngakoue finally got a sack. He actually got 2 sacks in the game. He hadn't had a sack yet in the first 4 games. But where was Max Crosby in this game? Wasn't even on the score sheet. I think we could have done better. I think it was a little bit better than average overall. We kind of bent but didn't really break. I would say we did a lot better in the second half than we did in the first half. If you look at the last 2 games, we only gave up 13 points total in 2 games in the second halves. It's very good. Good adjustments by Gus Bradley, but still a little bit more work that needs to be done here, especially in stopping the run.
And I hear everyone say, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
And honestly, I think Al Davis is rolling in his grave if he's watching this team, especially in the last 2 weeks. The offense has really been stagnant. I don't have to tell you that. That's pretty obvious. We're going to go over our first key, and that was my issue with this offensive line, mainly on the right side. Now, we know they moved Leatherwood in from tackle to guard. They promoted Brandon Parker. Hang on, I got a picture of him here. There we go. Brandon the Turnstile Parker to right tackle. And you know what? He didn't disappoint my expectations. I know he sucks. I know a lot of people think he's good. He is not good. He has been here as long as Colton Miller, and he is still shitty. I don't know why he's even still on the team. And obviously, I have to give this an F. Bears ended up getting 3 sacks. They had 4 quarterback hits. There's no excuse. It just keeps getting worse and worse on this offensive line. We knew we had problems, and it seems we just plainly aren't solving them. Now, some people will say, well, Brandon Parker, he was going up against Khalil Mack. Well, Leatherwood went up against TJ Watt and did a better job as a rookie in that game than Parker did against Khalil Mack. So what's the excuse there? There is no excuse. That's the bottom line. And with the offensive line being this way, a lot of people are saying, well, Carr sucks. Carr's a good quarterback, but he's a good pocket quarterback. He is not a good quarterback under duress. He is not a good quarterback with a shitty offensive line. If you want that, go get Lamar Jackson. Go get Deshaun Watson. But right now, he is not going to be effective with this terrible offensive line. And it goes to my second key as well with Henry Ruggs. And I gave this a D. Now, I know he had 3 catches for 51, but this is a byproduct of this terrible offensive line because Carr doesn't have the time to go deep to Ruggs. Now, I know they had a nice little crossing route late in the third, but again, why are we waiting till almost the fourth quarter to implement things like that to get him the ball? It doesn't make any sense. Renfrow had a pretty decent game. He ended up with 6 for 56. Brian Edwards was a disaster. He had a couple of drops. He only had 2 catches for 22 yards. As a whole, the offense was terrible. I have to give it an F. Couldn't pass the ball because of the offensive line. Couldn't really run the ball either because of the offensive line. And I thought we could at least get a little bit of gains with that. Early on, Josh Jacobs looked a little fresh, but there wasn't really many holes, especially later on in the game. We got a little bit behind. And the play calling got predictable. And that's on you again, buddy boy. And here we are once again. Same picture from the Charger game. You know, I figured if you can be lazy about a play calling schemes and getting ready for a game the following week, then I can be lazy and use the same fucking picture because this is pathetic. You know, honestly, I'm at the point where I don't think we can win a Super Bowl with John Gruden as head coach. And as I talked about in my quarterly report for the first quarter, the first 4 games, I talked about the next 4 games. And I went over this as well. I said that the Bears were number 1 in sacks. They didn't blitz much because they could sack the quarterback easily. And now we're going to have to go to Mile High, playing a top 5 defense, playing a top 10 in sacks, and a team, Vic Fangio, who loves to blitz. Now, this offensive line has a hard time just straight up blocking. How are they going to do in blitz pickup? This is going to be a disaster. I am just so concerned about this game because we had a whole week and it looked like we even got worse from the Charger game to this game. And as far as John Gruden goes, I don't see the fire. I honestly think he needs to resign. Now, I know he has the 10-year contract. Tommy Boy Davis isn't going to fire him. But my problem is, for example, his presser right after the Charger game his first thing was, I'm proud of my guys. What was there to be proud of? The offense sucked in that game. They came out in the second half and got a touchdown, tried to make it a little close, but where was the drive in the first half of that game? Where was the drive in the first half of this game? We only got 9 friggin' points. We were under 300 total yards. We were only 5 of 14 on third down conversions. Get your head out of your ass. And I listened to today's presser with John Gruden, and he said, well, this team, we're still trying to find our identity. You know what, buddy boy? This is your 4th fucking season. What are you talking about finding your identity? You don't know that by now? You need to be the hell out of here. This is ridiculous. And you know what? I have no confidence in this game against Denver. And we're probably going to go 3-3, and then we'll come back and play Philly, who's a scrappy little team, but we'll probably struggle, but probably get the W right before the bye week, and we'll be 4-3, and everybody will be all happy, and we're going to end up as another mediocre team with a shitty coach.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.